In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a website by creating your first web page. But to begin with, you must first understand how web browsing works. A person typically starts surfing the web by launching a web browser, which can be any of these applications shown here, like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or the Internet Explorer. They are all essentially web browsers. From a layman's point of view, the person, also known as a user, starts surfing the web by entering a uniform resource locator into the web browser's address bar. The browser then brings the user into a web server located by the web address to view the content inside the server. But what really happens when the user starts surfing the web is that all URL requests are being sent to a middleman server known as the domain name server. The DNS is a directory service which maps the human understood domain names into an IP address. The IP addresses are the numbers that point to the physical location of the server on the World Wide Web. In this case, for example, example.com is mapped to an IP address which is stored on the table in the DNS. The IP address is then retrieved from the DNS and sent back to the browser. The browser will then use the IP address to request for a web page from the web server's location. The default web page, which is usually an index.html file, will be sent to the requester's computer and be read by the browser. Hence, on the contrary to what most people believe, a web page or HTML page is actually downloaded to a user's computer to be displayed as opposed to viewing content on a remote server. So what is a HTML page then? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a computer programming language which contains markup tags that describes the HTML content. HTML tags are written in angled brackets and they usually work in a pair. A HTML starts with an opening tag and ends with a closing tag. There are exceptions with some special tags like the doctype declaration which exists by itself. The HTML tags are stored in a physical computer file which is executed by a browser to present the information as a web page. To begin writing a HTML code, you need a text editor. You can use any editor like Notepad that comes with Microsoft Windows. Alternatively, you can use Notepad++, which you can download for free from notepad++.org. All HTML pages begin with a doctype declaration encased in an angled bracket. With or without this tag, the newer browsers will be able to interpret your text file as a HTML page the moment HTML codes are detected. The doctype declaration is used by older browsers to determine the HTML version to render your codes. Next, a pair of opening and closing HTML tags are needed to contain the content of your web page. A HTML page is usually divided into head and body segments. The head segment can contain a title, meta information, scripting, and styling codes. I will start off my web page with a title in between the head tags. To display my HTML codes as a web page, I must first save the work as a HTML file. The file name will not matter for now. What is important is that the file extension must be saved as HTML so that the browser can run the file as a web page. Now I will open up the browser to run the file. You can see that the title of the web page now reflects the title I have created earlier. A pair of tags like this with its contents stored in between is also known as a HTML element. Next, I'm going to create some content in the body of my web page. Any content stored in the body element will be reflected in the viewing panel of the browser. I'm going to create header1 element for now. This is to display your text content as a big header look alike. I'm also going to create some content in the paragraph tag. Now you have your first HTML page up and running.